So let me show you how it works in Here I Am to Worship. So here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God. There it is right there. Or, right? So let's do it again. Okay, or hey, welcome to another episode of Chord Crush Thursdays, where every week we get into a new chord or chord progression that hopefully will help you to take your playing to another level. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you don't miss out on any of the future content by hitting the subscribe button as well as the notification bell, and also on your way in, make sure you hit that like button. That really helps us to grow. It's absolutely free for you to do, and it helps other people to see our content. So I appreciate that in advance. And also, I want to say congratulations to last week's winner. Every week we pick a new winner to win 90 free days in the Gospel Music Training Center. If you don't know what that is the world-class training center to learn how to play all of your favorite gospel songs, to learn how to play gospel music from a beginner standpoint, intermediate to advanced. If you're brand spanking new, we got something for you. Also, if you want to play the organ, we got something for you. If you want to learn how to play in the band, we got it all. So make sure you check out gospelmusictraining.com. We'll pick a new winner every week. All you gotta do is get in the comment section, and we use a random comment picker to pick a winner. And one more thing, if you want all the chords in all 12 keys for this video in a PDF guide, all you gotta do is text CRUSH to the number that you see on the screen. Text CRUSH to that number, and also you will get all of the other PDFs absolutely free from all of the other previous Chord Crush Thursdays episodes. So you don't want to miss out on that. Text CRUSH to the number that you see on the screen. It's also below in the description below. All right, so let's get started. We're going to be in the key of E flat major. We're going to continue this series of movements in the key of E flat major. Let's get it. Here we go. So E flat is the 1, F is the 2, G is the 3, A flat is the 4, B flat is the 5, C is the 6, D is the 7, and then we're back at the 1 E flat, okay? So that's the number system scale for the key E flat major. So I talked about some movements. In episode 21, we covered the 1, okay? In this particular key, what's the 1? It's E flat. So I showed you this movement off of the 1, which is this. And I showed you also another variation of that, which is this. Same concept, and I also showed you how to break that down. So if you want to learn that, check out part 1 of this series, but it's in episode 21. And to give you some context, in a song like Here I Am to Worship, you can do this on the 1. So here I am to worship. Okay? And that's just one example, but when you think about major chords on the 1, you can apply this instead of just playing a regular major chord. You can create movement by doing this too as well. So I talked about, this type of stuff happens in the major chords that happen in any key. So in order for you to understand how to apply this, you got to know, okay, where are the major chords in any key? Well, if you understand basic harmony, you will understand that there are something called primary chords in any key, which is the 1 chord. In this case, it's the E flat major. We already covered that. And then it's also the 4 chord, which is A flat. And then it's also the 5 chord. So the 1, the 4, and the 5 in any key. This doesn't just relate to the key of E flat major. It represents all 12 keys. The primary chords, for the most part, especially in worship music, are going to be where the major chords fall. So when you end up playing the E flat in your left hand, 9 times out of 10, you're going to play a major chord. But that depends on the style. So don't get me wrong. There's certain recipes for other styles, but when you play worship music and stuff that has a certain type of aura to it, you're going to find that certain tones, certain bass notes, you're going to play a certain type of chord. And this is where these movement happens. So when you're on a 1, you can play this major chord movement. When you're on the 4 with an A flat major chord, you can also play the same type of movement. It's gonna sound different, but it's pretty much the same thing. So we're gonna show you how to do this off of A flat major, okay? And then the same thing, when you play a B flat major chord, you can do the same movement off of B flat, and we're gonna get into that in episode 23. All right, we're gonna get into the next one, but there's also various different bass notes that you can do these movements off of too as well. So if you look at the 1, the 4, and the 5, those are just one tone, right? Or it's not just one, it's 3 different tones. But if you look at them as one tone each, for the E flat major, that's one tone, right? But that same movement can be split off 3 times, 3 different ways. So you can look at it as a triangle where the E flat is at the top of the triangle. Think about like triangle offense if you like basketball. The E flat is at the top, right? So the other tones that this same movement can work off of, one is gonna be to the left, the other one is gonna be to the right. So with E flat being on top, the movement can also happen over the C. And then it can also happen over the G. So that's why I'm thinking about a triangle with E flat being at the top and at the center. And then to the left, what we have is the relative minor. So the same movement can be done over the relative minor. If you don't know what that is, it's just whatever tone that's 1, 2, 3 half steps down. So if you want to find that other bass note in any key, and you already know, okay, this is the major chord, but what's the relative minor? I don't know what that is. It is pretty much the 6th tone of that root note scale. Or you can think about it as 1, 2, 3 half steps down. The relative minor is only 1, 2, 3 half steps down. And then the other tone that this movement can be done over is also 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps up. So think about 34. Whose number was 34? I think Shaquille. Am I wrong? I'm a Laker fan too. I think, don't judge me. 32, I want to say his number was 32, but I'm thinking about 34. Just remember 3, 4. So down 3 half steps, that's the other note. And then up 4 half steps from the E flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. And those are the other bass notes. So when you do this movement, it happens over the 1 in this particular case, and then you can also do it over the C. You can also do it over the G. But now we're gonna focus on the 4. So if I was to show you how this sounds on an actual song, when you go to the 4 and you end up on a major chord, in this case, we're in the key of E flat major and you end up on the A flat major chord. Let me just show you the movement. It'll be like this. Or a variation of it will be, or this. But it's the same thing as this. But it sounds totally different because it's on a totally different bass note, but it's the same exact concept that I showed you in episode 21. So let me show you how it works in Here I Am to Worship. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. There it is right there. Or, right? So let's do it again. Okay, or, so it's the same idea. So let's look at that. So just like in episode 21, the idea is, okay, we're off of the 4. And I told you, the 4th tone, what kind of chord do you think you're gonna play? Well, you're gonna play a major chord. So if you're gonna play a major chord on the 4, what type of major chord are you gonna end up playing? An A flat major chord, okay? So in this case, if you know what the major chord is, look at it in root position first, okay? So what ends up happening is you can drop the middle note down to the left hand, okay? This is one way to look at it, but there's a whole nother way that you can look at it, but I'm gonna try to make it easier for you. For those of you who don't know all your major scales, this is a simpler way to do it, but I can get into the other way in a second. But once you take that major chord, drop the middle note down to the left hand. Okay, now if we look at this, and the E flat is just gonna be held in our pinky, so that's not gonna move. The movement is gonna happen down here, okay? So now, if we get rid of this E flat just to focus in on these other notes, this is what we got, right? So how can you find these other notes outside of the notes that we already have? So if we drop the C down to the left hand, this is what we got. So we gotta find those notes that help us to move. So think about two different things: whole step, half step, and then the reverse, half step, whole step. So for the left hand, think whole step, half step. For the right hand, think the opposite, half step, whole step. Now, the first tone, you're gonna go down. So whole step, you're gonna go down a whole step. So if we're gonna go down, this note in our left hand is gonna be the center, okay? And then also the note in our right is gonna be the center. Remember, we got A flat and E flat, but we're just focusing in on where the movement happens. And it's gonna happen right here in our right hand. And it's right here. So this is gonna be the center tone. And then in our left hand, this is gonna be the center tone. So for the left hand, I said whole half. So you add the tone, that's a whole step down from that middle tone. So go down a whole step from C. And then the next tone, go up a half step. Remember, whole and then half. And that's the distance from C. So from C, it's a whole step down. And then also from C, it's a half step up. That's why I said go down a whole step and then up a half step. Now, if we look at the right hand, it's the opposite. I said go down a half step and then go up a whole step. So all that means is that that's the distance between where these notes are. So take the middle note, drop it down into the left hand. Whole step, half step for the left hand. So go down a whole step, go up a half step. Right hand, opposite. Go down a half step and then go up a whole step. So these are the notes that we got to play with. So now how many notes is it? It's 3. So now when it comes down to the movement, you can think about it with the numbers 1, 2, 3. So you can create movement by saying 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. The first note, the second note, the third note. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So that's a movement right there. But it's still like a movement for A flat major, because when you end the movement, you're going to end up on the notes that are in the middle, which is the second notes of the left hand. You got the first note, the second note, the third note. You got the first note, the second note, the third note in the right. So you're going to end up on the second note in both hands, which essentially is going to make you arrive at an A flat major chord when you hold the top note too. Okay, right? So now it's like now doing a movement to where you end up on those notes that are in the middle. So you can actually start on the third, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, and that's another movement. 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. But all while you're holding the pinky. Okay, so this one is a little bit more complicated. So you would do it like this. Okay. So you got that one, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So if I was to do that, okay, that's that. Now it's crazy because this is the same exact movement that I showed you on the last video, but it was just over E flat major. But it sounds totally different, as if it's something new, and it's not. It's the same exact concept, but guess what? The 1 is E flat, and that is another primary chord. So this works on the 1, 2 as well. It also works on the 4, and then on the next video, I'm gonna show you how it works on the 5. Now, you know, you got different variations of it. So that one, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, that's 1. You can also do just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And I'm talking about, you know, the order of the notes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Not the number system of the scale. So keep that in mind, okay? I'm just trying to give you something easy to work with when it comes down to figuring out a pattern, okay? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So that's another one. So let me see. Find the other one. Okay, that's it right there. So now this one is 1, it's 1, 2, 3, but the 2, 3 is fast, like that. And then you stop at the 2, so, or the second tone. So it's like that. While you're holding the pinky. So it's like this. Here it is right here. Okay? Okay, so that's it right there. So that works on the 4. Now what's crazy is, remember I told you like this one particular movement can split off and work on other bass notes too as well. So the same way that I told you it works off of E flat, and then it works off of C, and then it works off of G when we were focusing in on the movement for the 1, which is this. And I said you can do it off of the C, because that's the relative minor, and then also the 3 or the major third interval of that tone. You can work it, you can do that off that too as well. So the same concept works where this movement not only works for A flat, but it also works off of F. So another way you can think about this, when I said you can play this movement over other bass notes, well, think about when you're in the key of E flat major, you can play an A flat major chord over the 4, right? But you can also play an A flat major chord over what? The 2, over the F bass. Now, you can also play it over the C, right? And a lot of times you see this, like when you go from a 6 to the 7 to the 1. So what makes it work is it's really the amount of time you got to do the movement. Okay? So it's all about the time. And then also, sometimes you play a 4 chord over what? The 5. Okay? It works over there too as well. So the idea is to really show you these movements and how you can take one movement, and once you change the bass note, it sounds totally different, but it's the same exact movement. So that's how it sounds over the 4, the same idea. Remember to take these concepts and not just apply them to what I'm showing you for this particular song, but experiment with them, because you can actually do this over anything. You could do this in talking music, but you gotta understand the number system and the scales to understand how this works. So God bless. Thank y'all for tuning into another episode of Chord Thursdays. Now we're gonna pick a winner. Here we go. All right, so now we're gonna pick a new winner. We got the last week's video right here. We're gonna go ahead and grab the URL and we're gonna paste it over here in the random comment picker right here. I'm gonna filter out the duplicate users, gather the comments. So we got 35 unique comments, and we're gonna start the raffle to pick a winner. Here we go. Whoa, congratulations, Indy. You said your touch, bro. I appreciate that, man. Congratulations on winning 90 free days in the Gospel Music Training Center. Make sure you reach out to us at help@hearandplay.com. That's help@hearandplay.com, and we'll get you your free 90 days in the Gospel Music Training Center. God bless y'all. Thanks for tuning in once again. And until next time, see you on the next episode of Chord Thursdays. Peace.